What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today we got a special treat here. So we've got the Carbotix Voltron from Blitzway. So this is the Japanese limited edition version. So this is the one that only comes pretty much with the bot. So we're gonna take a look at that today. So without wasting any more time, let's go. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the box first. So, of course, with this box is extremely big. So, this actually pretty much takes up my whole display area. So, we're going to take a look at it real quick. So, of course, this is the front. That is the side. That is the top. This is the back. That is the other side. And that is the bottom. So like I said, this is extremely big. So, okay, so let's take a look at what's inside. All right, so let's take a look inside here. So of course, I have to film this a little bit differently since it's a bigger box. So we're gonna take a look and see what we got in here. But yeah, you know, the thing about this one is all right, so let's take a look in here. So as you can see, great presentation from Blitzway. This was probably the most secure package that I've ever gotten. So everything was in pristine condition, even with the shipping and everything. So let's take a look here. So yeah, I mean, if you're gonna spend $400 or $500 on a figure, why not have a good presentation like this? So this is a great presentation. So we've got this here. That is the manual, okay? And then you've got, it looks like you got the stickers there, and you've got, looks like the lighting effect. So this one does still have the lighting gimmick as well. All right, for the lions, so we got that. All right, let's take a look here. Pull off this foam. And so, let's see if I can take this out here. Okay, so let's take a look at this now that I got it out of the box there. So of course, here, this is kind of just like a cover piece. So you can pull this off. Of course, I got all the foam and stuff. So of course you can see the lions here and here, and then you got two here and here. You got the blazing sword or the Jukin there, and you've got the effect part there on the right. So you've got that. Let's move that, and of course you got the black lion there. You have the alternate faceplate there. So let's take a look at the manual. Okay, so this is what everything that comes in the manual. So of course, first things first, we've got the lights there. Let's see if I can get that to focus. There we go. So you got the lights there. You get two of those. You get the stickers here. I don't normally actually put the stickers on. I usually leave them off because I like it to be more like the anime. So even though you did see the numbers in the anime sometimes. So, and then of course you got like your pry tools and your little tools for your lights and stuff like that. So you've got that here. You got first, you've got the instructions for installing the lights. So you've got that stuff there. All right, so let's take a look at this manual here. So of course, first things first, it's got kind of like your parts count here. So you got the numbers here, and then you got your battery numbers. Looks like LR41 and CR1120. So those are the lights that you'll be using. So that's good to know. So if you need to order extra ones, and then your spinning laser blade. Let's see if I can put that in focus. Spinning laser blade, not a shield. Spinning laser blade. That's what that was. That was like a throwing star. It's one of my pet peeves when it comes to Voltron. But anyway, so this is the diagram. But yeah, the reason why I actually waited on this one, because I know this one came out like last year or 2 years ago, and it looked really awesome. But for me, the price was just way too high. They wanted 1,000. And to be honest, like I've said in countless other videos, I'm not really a super big fan of lighting gimmicks. So for me, I just thought it was too high. But with the Japanese exclusive version, they split them up. So this one only comes with the bot. The other set, which has the stand and all of that. So you've got that. I didn't really need that because I'll never have it in lion form, to be honest. So there's no reason to have a display stand for that, even though I think this one does not come with the weapons. So, but you know, that's okay, you know. So, and I think with this one, I got this for a little less than, with the exchange rate, a little less than 400. So to me, that was a little bit more palatable as far as the price point is concerned. And I wanted that Jukin or the blazing sword effect. So now if they had lighting effects for that, now I would be all for that kind of stuff. But in general, I'm not really a fan of lighting effects. So looks like for here, pretty much with most Voltrons, if you've transformed one, you've transformed them all. They pretty much transform them the exact same way. I'm sure that there are a little bit of differences and stuff, but overall it should be close to the same. And then of course you've got some photo work there, so good for that. So that's what we've got for the manual. Now let's get into the review. Next, we're going to take a look at the accessories for this figure. Now with the Japanese edition, they split the two, the stand and all of the equipments for the lions and stuff, they split those up into two sets, so you had to buy them separately, and that's what got the price down for the Blitzway Voltron. So this is the accessories that comes with this kit. So of course you got the bots, but we'll get into them later. So for the accessories, the main reason why you're going to buy this set is for this right here, and that is the blazing sword, or Jukin. Right, and so this is the effect part. It's really, really well done. I don't really have any issues with it. It actually has a slight curve in it, a slight bend, if you look there. So, you know, it looks really, really awesome. I'll be very interested to put that on there. So this is the main reason you buy this kit. So, but yeah, so that looks awesome. Then of course you have the traditional regular blazing sword, or Jukin, or Ten King sword. The thing about the translation for Go Lion is that a lot of times, especially when we are translating it to English, a lot of people kind of put their own little spin on it. So I don't know what the actual translation is. Does it actually mean Ten King sword? I don't know. But I like calling it the Ten King sword, so that's what we're going to do. So of course, this set, so that's really well done there. And very, very long. So I would say this is probably about 13, 14 inches would be my guess, just eyeing it. So you've got that. You've got the space cutter. Okay, like I said, not a shield. But you got the space cutter here, and he's got a handle here. So that comes with that there. And you also get the pilots. So of course you've got their Japanese names are a little bit hard to pronounce for me, but of course you've got but for Voltron, or you know, their names are pretty easy. So that's Keith, Pidge, Hunk, Lance, and the Princess. So if I can actually bring that a little bit closer. So, and I'm probably going to do a montage at the end with these, because I actually do like having these, so that's really cool there. So you do get those. Now, also with this set as well, you don't get any batteries. The only batteries that you get are actually for the green and red lion, but the ones for the blue, the black, and the yellow lion, you pretty much have to buy on your own. That's okay. Like, since I'm not a big lighting effect guy, that doesn't really affect me all that much. But if I decide to change my mind, I can actually go and buy those separately. So that's what you've got for that. So that's what you've got for accessories for here. So now let's get into the lions. So next, let's get into the lion. So of course, this one here is the red lion. So that is piloted by Lance. And with the pretty much the limbs are going to be the same on both sides. So the different articulation and stuff that the red lion has, the green lion will have, just like whatever articulation and gimmicks the yellow lion has, the blue lion will have. So, so what we're gonna do, I'll probably only do one of the legs and one of the arms, just so you can see, but pretty much they're pretty much symmetrical in that way. So they have the same kind of articulation and stuff like that. So for the Red Lion, of course, they all come with their own piloting figure, right? And he is in here. If I can push this up. All right. So, of course, those are like his micro missiles. And then Lance, if you look, let's see if I can get my hand in there. There we go. And if you look down in there, let me see if I can get a light real quick. All right, so if you look down in here, and you may not be able to see it, but you can see right there, there's a small little figure in there, and they're in all of the lines. So not only do you have the standing ones, you actually have the pilot ones. Couldn't you pull it all out? I imagine you could, but for me personally, I'm not going to do that. Now, like I said, with this set, you also don't get the weapons for the lions either. So, you know, that is something, but like I said, I'm never gonna have it in lion mode, so it's not a big deal for me. So that's what you got there. Now, the interesting thing that made the Blitzway popular, at least in my eyes, was the fact that it had covers for the legs. Because usually, with most Voltron figures, this chrome part was always shown, because there was no way in order to have that hidden like it was in the show. In the show, this would be like solid red, so you wouldn't see any of his feet. So that was the first thing that they did, was the covers. Now, what you can do, and actually it's not that bad, but this one, because of course he's in lion mode right now, but if you're gonna like transform him into Voltron, you wanna like move this out of the way, and then you would kind of cinch this back in like this. All right. And you know, the interesting thing about it being silver, I've always found that to be interesting, because in the show, it was actually white, not silver. But you know, not to say that I don't like the chrome part. So of course, you've got this little slit here, and then that will actually go in here, and it will lock into place. And actually, I probably gotta move his feet out of the way. Like that, there you go. And then boom, just like that. So you do that with the front, you can also do that with the back, okay? So you kind of gotta get it out of the way. And this tabs in pretty good. Now I do remember when the Blitzway actually first came out that a lot of people were having problems with this hinge, because this hinge here is where it could possibly get cracked if you put a lot of pressure on this part, and that's what actually has the cover in place. So just be cognizant of that. I haven't had any issue on this one. This one has been pretty sturdy for me. I don't know, maybe Blitzway fixed that one, I'm not sure. But all right, so with this, you gotta kind of get his leg out of the way. What you wanna do in order to get this panel out is this little hinge here, right there, is that it'll actually be laying flat. You actually need to push this up, because as this comes out, you're gonna have to push this back. And what you do is you kind of take it and pull it back like that. And then that's how you would put the legs in there if you were actually going to form Voltron. So, and then also like the feet actually does have like a little peg here. So the actual feet will come out, all right? And of course those are all chrome plated. So I would be interested in seeing what a white version look like. I don't know if you could do a white chrome, that would be interesting to see. But yeah, so you would kind of have it in here, and you would move it back in here and lock that in place. And then this tab here goes into that slot right there, just like that. And then boom, that covers that up just like that. And that's probably the closest you'll get. Now with the new Action Toys version, this entire thing is going to be one solid color, because I think you can actually take the legs off. So you got that coming up in a couple of months. But so that's what you've got for the covers. So of course, let's kind of get this back out. I just wanted to show you that real quick. That can be kind of a contention there for some people. But yeah, so that's really cool. So let's pull his leg out here and kind of get him the way that we want him. And then we can actually put this back in there. So we'll take this, push this down like this, and then it kind of slides in there just like that. Boom. So that's how you do that. So do that, take this back out. So, all right, so we got the legs out there. And then we would put that back in there by rotating this out. All right, and then this one is actually a little bit different from the back one because this one doesn't really have like a hinge. You just kind of have to move the leg out of the way and it will, boom, just like that. Okay, so, and then those will tab back into place, just like that. Okay, so, and you can also do that with that side as well, okay? Now, also, for his tail is actually stored in here. So, in this little compartment here, this is actually the connection for the, now one thing that the Blitzway one does, it gives you kind of like these pry tools, and I actually do appreciate that because sometimes these things can be kind of hard to get out. All right, so in order to pull this joint out, you actually need this little prying tool that it comes out with. I find that that's the easiest way to do this. So you kind of take this and then you just kind of pry it back. Now this thing does feel like it's going to break, but it'll actually move that peg so you can get your hand in there. And then you can kind of pull this out. And of course that's on a really strong ratchet right there. So I definitely appreciate that. And then for the tail, you would just kind of fold this back in if you're going to transform him. And of course we'll get into that for those particulars later, but that's how you do that. And then you would just take this out. I don't really have any nails, so. But of course we just lift this up. All right, and then we'll take this tool and kind of push this back in, because yeah, that is a really strong ratchet. All right, so that's what you've got for the tail. Now for the Red Lion, with this set, it actually did come with the lights for this, and so we're actually going to do that real quick. So first things first is what you're gonna need this tool here. All right, it's just a little clamp. Now I already have the bulb in there, but this is the actual like socket part of the light. So what we're gonna need to do is clamp that down, and then in the lion's neck, I don't know, you probably can't see it, there's a little spot where you can put this in. And so we're gonna take that and we're gonna push this in. This might be a little bit difficult to do on camera because what I found is that this light likes to move and it's very, very small. So just be careful with that, especially if you're doing it on carpet, because it will go flying. So I think I got it. So now that I kind of got it in there, I can actually take it and use my finger to kind of push it in there all the way so you can get that nice and snug. And then let's push that in there, boom, and you saw that light come on. And so that's his eyes lit. Let's turn off these lights real quick so you can actually see. All right. So, and one of my main issues when it comes to lighting effects is that a lot of times what I find is that the lights actually are not bright enough. Okay. And so let's turn on this other light as well. So as you can see, it's you've got a little bit of piping in there. And so you can see the light. It's not very bright. I found that a lot of third-party lights tend to do a lot better than the actual manufacturers. I don't know why that is. But so that's what you've got as far as light for his head. So, and then what you want to be cognizant of is that you never want to leave these in. Number one, because there's no real, there's no switch for this, so you can't just turn it off. So what you'd have to do is take this out anytime that you don't want to use the light. So you can take that part out and pull this out just like that. And that, let me turn my lights back on. Okay, and so that's pretty much your like bulb part there. So that's what that looks like there. So I just store that in the bag. Like I said, I'm not big on lighting gimmicks anyway, so that's not a big deal, but it can do it. So that's what you've got for that. Now, like for the articulation, as far as him in lion mode, he has a decent ab crunch just because this is where the elbows would be on Voltron. And so he's kind of got it, you can kind of sway it. And so this is on a strong ratchet here. And so if you want him to kind of do where he's sitting down, and in the show, they did a lot of that where they're kind of like on their hind legs and stuff. What you do is you take this and you pull that out, and that's on that ratchet. That will give you that so he can actually sit down, and you can actually push this down. Now, this is probably about as far as I've been able to get it, right? So, but you know, I say it's pretty good, better than most bots. So, you got that to where he's kind of like sitting down like that. Now, he also does have some articulation in the head part. However, I think that he doesn't have enough. And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times when they were actually like sitting down and they're like on their hind legs, their actual neck would actually be out here. Now they do that really well with the yellow and blue lion, but with the black, the red, and the green lion, not so much, right? So, but this can actually move in and out, up and down like that. And then you can actually turn. I can go 360 all the way from side to side. And what that is, you got a little part here. Now, the first time I did this off camera, it took quite a bit of force to kind of push this part down because this actually goes in. So, but you leave it like that, and that kind of gives the red lion a little bit of a neck there. So he's got pretty good articulation. That's actually going to be articulation for his wrist as well when he's in Voltron mode. So that's what you've got for the red lion. That's pretty much it for the red lion. And like I said, these are pretty symmetrical. So what I went through with the red lion is pretty much going to be symmetrical with the green lion as well. So you've got that. So let's actually take a look at the blue lion. So next we're going to take a look at the blue lion. Now the blue lion, like I said, it will be symmetrical to the yellow lion. So pretty much the exact things that you can do on the blue lion, you can do on the yellow lion for the most part. So now with this guy, he actually can sit on his hind legs quite well. I would actually say that this is probably the best hind leg one, the yellow and the blue lion. I really wish the black lion had that, but I'll talk about that when I get there. Okay, so like this one, like the red lion that we just went over, this one still has the same cover as well, right? And there it is right back there. And so you would have to put, so of course, just like with the red lion, you want to make sure that this comes up. So this one actually comes out like that. And then you can actually fold this back in just like this. And then we'll actually push this up and push that in there. And then that will tab in like that. So that'll be part of the leg there. For his tail is actually on the outside. So it just kind of goes right back in there. Okay. Like that. So, all right. And then this is actually supposed to lay flat. Cause that hinge there is quite tight, but I could see why, because you definitely don't want to break it. Cause if you break it, then you're going to be all messed up. Okay. So now that we kind of got him back in lion form, all right, let's have him back in the squatting position there. It's kind of like that. So yeah, he would be sitting like this. So that is a perfect like hind leg squat. Now, how he's able to actually do that is because of this back here. So what this does is you kind of have it like on a ratchet, and what it does is you can take this and split it. And what it is, there's a tab that comes out. There we go, like that. And so what that is this tab here hooks into that. Just be careful with that. I had to use quite a bit of force to do that, but it goes up here. You got that, and then you've got like that there. So that's actually how you get that look there. So you got that, and then also for the pilot, of course, this is micro missiles here for Princess Allura. You take this and push this back. I'm just going to use this tool again and kind of push that back, because that's supposed to go up just like that. And then I don't know if you can see that. Let me grab the light. If you can see that in there, there's the princess right there. So you got that there. And then we just close this up. All right, push that back in here. Now, there actually are no covers for the front part of his legs, and I'm actually okay with that. In order to do that, I wouldn't even know how you would do that from a design perspective. All right, but like I said with this also is that the yellow and blue and black lines don't come with their batteries, right? You have to buy those separately, but the battery would pretty much go right in here. And then you've got a switch right in the back right here. Let's see if you can see that. Right there. There's an on and off switch. Unlike the red and green where you literally just plug it in, it automatically comes on. This actually has an on and off switch. Okay. So you've got that. Of course, he's got missiles in his mouth. So you can see that there. So he's got that. And then also, he doesn't come with his weapons also. So that's what you've got for the Blue Lion. And what I really like about the Blue Lion and the Yellow Lion specifically is how far the neck raises. Because you see how high this raises? Now, you can't do this with the Black Lion, and I'll kind of get into why here in a little bit. But it can kind of go all the way straight like this. All right. Then kind of go all the way straight down like that. And he can kind of look it down, right? But he can also raise it, and that's actually how I like it, especially if you're gonna have them on their hind legs. Because if you're gonna do the lions, that's the only reason why I would think that you would want that. So that's what you've got there. But yeah, so that's what you've got there. You've got pretty much the same with the Yellow Lion. He's a tad bit different, but not really, just because of, let me bring him out here. Just because his little slot for the pilot is right here. So that's where Hunk is. So let me see if I can push this down. And so you just kind of pop that down, and then let's see. Good. Grab my light again. And there's Hunk right there. So that's what you got for him. He also has the on and off switch. Since the Blue Lion is a little bit darker, let's see. There you go. So there's an on and off switch for the Yellow Lion as well. He has the same cover as the Blue Lion there, so you do the exact same thing that you did there. He also has the brake and the tab here that would clip into that. That'll make that straight, but you've got like a ratchet where he can actually do like the hind leg look there. He's also got battery slot for the mouth in here, and he's also got the missiles in his mouth as well. So that's what you've got for the Yellow and Blue Lion. So I really do like these two. Probably out of all the lions, I think that these are probably the best done, just due to the fact of their articulation and the fact that they can sit on their hind legs the most. So let's get into the Black Lion last. Next, let's take a look at the Black Lion. So the Black Lion actually is probably my favorite lion out of the 5 in the show. He actually looked the coolest. Also, because he forms the body and head of Voltron, it makes sense, right? But unfortunately, when he's in figure form or toy form, he has a lot of limitations because of the fact that he is the main body. And so some articulation he can't really get, right? Now, first things first, he can't actually rest on his hind legs just because of the thickness of his thighs. He does have an ab crunch, and it's actually right there like that, because to go straight, he would be like this. But with his ab crunch, and that's more for bot mode, he's kind of like that. But unfortunately, with the legs, he just doesn't have it. Now, you may say, well, I thought in the promo picture they had him on his hind legs. No, actually they had him just like this. It was just that it was covered by the other lion, so you couldn't see it as well. And I looked at that picture 1,000 times, and I'm like, well, maybe I'm doing something wrong. No, that's how they had him. They actually had him on his knees, okay? So, but anyway, so you've got that. And then on this guy, what's interesting is he actually has like a drop hip. And I don't know if I can show it to you. Let's see. but he's got a ratchet that swings left and right. So that's the left mode there. And then he's got right mode. So that'll get him a little bit more articulation. That's mainly more for the bot mode, but you can use that in lion mode as well. Okay. And so, you know, he's pretty much got the typical black lion stuff for Voltron. Of course, he's got his wings here, right? So when you form Voltron, of course, those will come out. So those are on a strong ratchet there. Okay. And then also for to see Keith, he's actually back here, and you just flip him up, and I think you can see him without me actually using the light that time. So there's Keith right in there. Okay. And then if you're gonna actually put the stickers on, you would put the numbers on the back. I actually leave mine plain though. Okay. And then as far as his neck, now also when I was talking about the yellow and blue line, as far as them being on their hind legs, the reason why that's so important, because like in the show, a lot of times they were on their hind legs when they were kind of like in rest mode or whatever, because they had like different elements. So they were in different parts of planet Allura, or Alta, I think is what it's called in Go Lion. I could be wrong about that. But anyway, so he's got a lot of articulation in his neck as far as down and up. Now, he's also limited by this back. So unfortunately, he can't really stick his neck up like the blue lion. So if you look at the blue lion, see how far his neck is up just because of that. But this is actually limited by his back here. So actually, this is as high as his head will go. Now, of course, that's mainly because of his bot mode and because of this piece back here. If you actually had that on a rotating joint like you do the blue and yellow line, and even the green line for a little bit, and blue or green and red lion, you could probably do something like that, because the way that he sat when he was kind of like on top of in front of the castle and everything was that you could actually see the shield insignia and all of that when he was actually like sitting on his hind legs. But unfortunately, I don't know if there's a way that you can actually do that for the black lion. I'll actually put up a picture so to kind of show you the difference in what I'm talking about, because the black lion is so iconic to me. I would say he's probably the most famous of all of the lions, simply because he makes up the body and the head of Voltron. So you've got that there. You've got the tail. So the tail just kind of folds in and out like that. Okay. And then if we actually did want to put him on his legs, this will actually swing around like that. Okay. And he's got really strong ratchets, so good on Blitzway for that. So he's got ratchets everywhere. So that's kind of like him on his in his regular, just sitting up or whatever. And like this articulation in the midsection, because in the Solar Shigoken one, it was actually from the bottom, and the fact that this piece kind of bends from the top, I actually do kind of like that a little bit better. I think it looks a little bit better. So you've got that, and then unfortunately, he just can't lift his neck all the way up. But for this, of course, he's got, let's open his mouth here. So of course he's got the face, right, of Voltron, and then you would actually push this up. All right, he's also got a missile there, okay? And then if you actually do have the full version, or if you have the second part that comes with all the weapons, you would actually put the weapons on the sides here. So he has missile launchers on the back. Even though I think for this version, for the Blitzway version, they're kind of small in comparison to the Solar Shigoken. I think those are properly sized to where the weapons on the Black Lion for the Blitzway one is relatively small. So you've got that there. So that's what you've got for the black line. I think overall he looks great. The chrome, the chrome in the feet, the chrome for the ears. He also has a lighting effect, right? And if you look here, all right, and you would open that part there, that's where your batteries go. Okay, that's where your batteries go. If they came with it, or if you want to buy them and do it separately. Like I said, I'm not big into lighting, so that doesn't really bother me all that much. But so that's what you've got there. Really nice sculpt by Blitzway, I must admit. I think his range of motion, other than the fact that he can't necessarily look all the way up, is actually pretty doggone good. Now, a lot of that has to do with because, you know, he can move his head as Voltron and stuff, because literally he'd be looking down like that in Voltron mode. So you've got that. So that's pretty cool. Also, like, he'll have some extra articulation, especially when we get into bot mode, because this part goes in like that. And so you can kind of ratchet this all the way. And that kind of pushes that in when his foot is like that. So, you know, that'll give you a little bit more range of motion. All right. So now that we're kind of done with the lions, let's go ahead and try to get him transformed. All right, so let's get ready to form Voltron. So of course I'm gonna have to get them out of their lion modes and into forming the arms and the legs and the body. So I'm actually not gonna talk much during this part, but I will cue the music. So let's do that. So there you have him, Voltron in all his glory, and he is a big boy. So let's take a look at him. All right, so let's take a look at the articulation for this guy. So let's bring him up here. So what we've got here, as far as his head is concerned, you've got pretty wide range of motion there. So all the way up, of course, like that, all the way down, like that, side to side. He can actually move it. You cannot move it 360, but he can move it pretty far to the right and left. All right, so I would say that's probably about, maybe about 45 degrees, maybe. And so you can move it all the way down there. Now, what I found a lot of times, especially when you're doing poses from the side, everybody wants to do like the blazing sword pose, is a lot, what's blocking that is this part here. So you're not really gonna get his head all the way over. It's gonna kind of be at an angle like that. So that's what you've got for the head. Now for the arms, as far as his range of motion, he can go all the way up like that. So that is really good there. All right, and that's on a really good ratchet. And then you can kind of do that 360. Let me get his wings out of the way. Just like that. So you've got good range of motion in the shoulder part. Now, for the elbow, let's take a look here. He's got a decent elbow bend. Unfortunately, you're not going to be able to get all the way up here just because of the design. So this part is going to be hitting this part here. So that's unfortunate, but you know, it's okay. And then for the wrist, let's see. So of course, wrist can go up and down like that. And you can go, you can't really go side to side though. So you got that part there. Now also with the elbow, you can kind of bend that up. That's where like the green line gets his articulation there. So even though you can't really do it the other way, it's only that one way. All right, so you've got that for articulation for the arms. Now let's do the midsection here. He's got a really good ab crunch. Okay, so you can go all the way down like this. All right, and then, but you're not going to get anything going the opposite direction, right? So it just goes from the stationary to down. Okay, so that's unfortunate too, but considering a lot of the times I've found with Voltrons, they tend to be limited based on their transformation because it's 5 separate lions that do it versus if it was maybe like 1 or 2. So unfortunately, he has, like, his articulation is good for a Voltron figure, but I wouldn't say it's good compared to other figures, all right? So he doesn't really have any from side to side. He can swing it, but it doesn't even go all the way. So it kind of goes from left to right, and I would say maybe at like a 45-degree angle. Yeah, like a 45-degree angle, like this and this here. All right, so that's pretty much all you're gonna get out of the midsection. I think also, like I said before, that kind of has to do with the transformation as well. All right, so let's take a look at his legs here. So let's see if I can back this up here. So for his legs, he still has a drop down swing here. So you can actually have that go down or up. So you can kind of do that to kind of get that range of motion. Now he can lift it because this is on a ratchet. However, this does want to droop just because this ratchet here is not strong enough. So even though he can lift it at a 90-degree angle, it won't stay there. Okay. You just see how that kind of droops down a little bit. So, and that's just due to the heaviness of the figure. So, but that's what you've got there. Let's see, let's move this back in here. All right, and I've got it back to its normal thing. Yeah, so he's got that. Now, for the thigh, this does actually swivel. So this can actually go 360, okay? So it can kind of go like that there, okay? And then for the knee, of course, as you saw before, he does have a really good knee bend. All right, so he's got a decent knee bend there. I would actually say that's pretty good. It's only limited by the fact that it's so heavy, right? Because this guy he's extremely heavy, and he's got to be at least about 4 or 5 pounds, I imagine. So all right, so that's what you've got for the knee. Let's get this back in here now. Can he do the splits? He actually might be able to get pretty close. Let's see. Can he do the splits? Let's see here. So that's pretty doggone close there. So not perfect, of course. I think those ratchets help him a lot in the legs and in the thigh area. So not perfect, but pretty doggone close. So that's really good articulation for the legs. All right. And then for the feet, of course, those are just it's only by the line there. So you can go all the way down and go all the way up. You can actually move this down if I needed to. Okay. So you can go down and up. And then you can also, you can't really move side to side, unfortunately, but you would have to move the actual leg in order to do that. Okay. So you've got that. So that's what you've got for articulation. He's actually quite good. Now, when I compare this to other figures, because like I said, because he's kind of limited by his transformation, because his transformation has so many different parts. And what I've noticed is that even though his articulation is quite good for a Voltron one, I don't know if I would put it on comparison to some of the other robots that I have in my collection. I think the articulation will be done better in some of those. But for this is more of like a display piece. Yes, it does have a pretty good range of motion for what it is. I would be interested to see how they build upon this going into the future. Usually when you have another figure that is really, really good, because when we got the Solar Chigokin, literally this one was announced almost immediately after the Solar Chigokin came out, and we didn't really think that the Solar Chigokin would ever be beat. So, but this is actually really, really good, considering what it is, considering its size, considering its amount of detail. So I would say that this is definitely a win. You know, now one thing I don't necessarily like the face sculpt all that much. I mean, it's good, but it's not great to me. So I don't know how you would fix that, to be honest. But for me, it just something about it just seems a little off to me. I'm not really sure. So, but yeah, so that's the only really complaint I have. So actually, let's get some of the weapons on him and let's go from there. All right, so let's put his weapons on him. So, of course, this is pretty simple. So usually for the blazing sword, if you look at the red lion, he's got a little slit in his mouth. You see this with most of the Voltron kits. They've got a little slit where the actual sword goes in. So pretty much this just goes and plugs in. You can do this both on the red and the blue lion, or the green lion, but you would just take that and then push this in here. If I can get that to line up there. There we go. Kind of like that. So that's what that looks like. He can do that with the green lion as well. Now, what I've actually noticed, especially when you start doing poses and stuff, because this sword, even though it's not super heavy, but it is heavier than most. And I've noticed, like, once you start actually moving him like this, that piece where it's actually hooked up onto, it'll actually fall out a lot. So you may want to put some sticky tack in there or something like that. But, you know, he's got that there. So he's got that. And then let's actually move this out of the way. And then let's try his space cutter. So, of course, it's kind of go in roughly the same way. Green lion's got a little slit in there. And then what you would do is actually just slide this in here, right there. And then push this in. Let's see if I can get my hand in there. There we go. Yeah, because the teeth are quite sharp. So let's be careful about that. And then let's push this in here. It's more about just getting it lined up. All right, just like that. So that goes in there. And then that's his space cutter. All right, so you've got that. Sorry about the camera keeps moving because I have it on a little gimbal, and every time I go in to grab it, it actually wants to move this way. So I apologize about that. All right, but yeah, so that's what you've got for his weapons there. So actually, let's go into the actual sword effect for the blazing sword. Okay, so let's now put the blazing sword effect in. Now, the thing about this effect is that this is all one piece. So it's not two pieces or anything. It's one solid piece. And it does give a little bit of room for flexibility. I just wouldn't press your luck with that. So in order to do this, it's pretty much like putting in the regular blazing sword. So it kind of goes in that slot in the top of his mouth. Now, I don't know. I can't speak for all the other versions, but with mine, this little clip here, let's see if I can get that to focus. That little clip there does not want to stay in his mouth. It doesn't go up there very good. But because if you actually clasp his jaw down, yeah, because that doesn't go in there hardly at all, actually. So I don't know if mine's just too big or it's got extra piece of plastic on there. I don't know. All right, so pretty much it'll go like that. Now this is really heavy too, so of course he's not going to really be able to hold it with one hand like that. But all right, it looks like I got it in there now. Okay, and then for the green lion, you're gonna just take that, open his mouth, and we're going to kind of slide that in that way. And so that's kind of like the effect part that you have for the blazing sword. Sorry, my camera's all out over the place because this figure is so big. So, but so that is kind of like the blazing sword effect. More than likely, this is how I'm actually going to have him in my display shelf. So I really do like that effect. Now, if this effect part had lights in it, then we may be talking about something there. That would actually be a lighting effect that I actually would not mind. So, but yeah, so it looks solid. So now let's get into final thoughts. So, last thoughts on this guy. You know, this is interesting. I put off buying the Blitzway for a long time simply just because I thought it was overpriced. You know, the original set that comes with the stand and all the weapons was retailing for about $800 to $900. And for me, that was a little high, no matter how much I like the actual figure itself. For me, this is an easy buy if you are a Voltron fan, especially this set specifically. I don't really care about the lions as far as their weapons and stuff. Would it have been nice to have? Sure. But am I going to pay an extra $300 in order to get it? The answer is no. For me, there is, even though I would consider this to be the quintessential Voltron piece, especially if you are a hardcore collector, it still does have some problems. But to me, the problems that it has has to do with the limitations of the design, the fact that you have 5 lion robots, you got to get them all to work together. The black lion is the one that probably suffers the most for articulation just because he's the main body, and based on the transformation, there's not much that I think that they could do with it. I think if you could add the articulation that the blue lion and yellow lion had to the black lion, I would say this is pretty much a perfect piece. The red lion and green lion, that has decent articulation on it. The head articulation, not my favorite, but I would say that it's better than 95% of the other Voltron pieces that I've seen. So for me, out of 10 stars, I'm gonna give this probably like a 9.8. It's practically perfect. You know, my only fallback is it really is the price. Now, with this actual set, since it didn't come with all the stands and stuff, I got it for a significantly lower price. So for me, it was a little bit less than $400. Now, of course, if I add shipping and stuff, it goes up to about $450 or whatever it was. But I think overall, it's a great piece. The lighting effects I can do without, so this is a perfect piece for me. I do like the blazing sword. I think it's an amazing set. Now, if that had actually had lighting effects in it, now that would have been awesome. But I think this is a big boy. You're going to need a lot of room in your DTOF in order to make this guy fit. But I think overall, this is a tremendous piece for any Voltron fan, or if you just like super robots in general. So that's what I have for you today. So thank you guys for watching the video. And in my Legendary Defender announcement video, and also when I was talking about this, there was a montage that I wanted to do with the lions to kind of simulate the ending of the Go Lion or Voltron, and so I'm gonna definitely try to do that. So if you've made it to the end of the video, that's what you're gonna see. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.